If someone tells you that for nearly 200 years, the world's most expensive and beautiful fabric was being made in India, would you believe it? In fact, the fabric that once used to be often referred as the eighth wonder of the world has disappeared from the face of this earth, as if it never existed. This wonderful fabric, the muslin, attained global fame as Dhaka Malmal. The saris made from this muslin were so light and so soft that they could pass through a small ring. In his book Nihayatul Kamal, Amir Khusro himself described muslin as clear as water and as light as air. Since the world had never seen a magical fabric like this before, some royal court poets described it as puffed hawa, meaning woven air. But the question arises, where and how did this fabric, this magical fabric, disappear in just a few years after the arrival of British? Let's explore. Some historians believe that the word muslin comes from the city of Mosul in Iraq, where Europeans first came across this fabric that was brought by the Arab traders from India. However, modern historians suggest that the term muslin originated from the port of Machilipatnam in Andhra Pradesh, which the Romans called Mycelos, where muslin was a primary export. Queen Marie Antoinette of France was a fan of the muslin. Being so finely handwoven, a part of the aura, the muslin came from fantastic stories surrounding it. Some believed that the fabric was not made by humans, but by fairies who wove it and gave it to us. During the 16th and the 18th centuries, muslin was not only favored by the royal court and upper-class women, but even powerful Mughal emperors began to wear clothes made from muslin. This led to an enhancement in quality, weave, and refinement of the fabric. Everything was going well until the arrival of the British in India in 1793. The British East India Company gradually took over Mughal Empire, and after less than a century, India was under British rule. Now, the East India Company had already set its sight on destroying this popular muslin fabric as it threatened their textile mills back in England. Britain's Industrial Revolution was actually achieved by suppressing India's industries. For 200 years, Britain continued to enrich itself at India's expense. Britain would take raw materials from India and turn them into cloth in their own mills, selling them worldwide. Now, this flooded global markets with goods made from Indian raw materials. Britain would take raw materials from India and turn them into cloth in their own mills, selling them worldwide. Now, this flooded global markets with goods made from Indian raw materials. This was just one side of the story. Other side of the story was that British companies cut off fingers of Indian weavers. destroyed their looms and homes, filed false cases, and arrested many of them. They also imposed heavy taxes on their products, just so that they could not compete with British textiles. As a result, Indian weavers were reduced to abject poverty. They abandoned their traditional profession and turned to farming and physical labor instead. Meanwhile, from being a net exporter of fabrics, India started importing bulk of its textiles. This led to a gradual decline in India's share of the global textile trade, decreasing from 27% to a mere 2%. In this way, not only did the British dismantle the Indian textile industry, but their exploitative economic policies forced many of the weavers and the artisans who were already suffering from oppression to commit suicide. Pandit Jawaharlal Nehru, in his book Glimpses of World History, highlighted the significance and demand for this fabric from India. He wrote that even 4,000 years ago, mummies in Egypt were wrapped in fine Indian muslin. Although the word lute is now part of the English Oxford Dictionary, it has been a part of the British mindset for many, many years. The fact that the world's finest textiles were forced to the brink of destruction is proof of this mindset.